A week ago at the wood fair near Lewes, I saw this product called the Truncator, and I saw it in action. Thought it looked a really neat way of cutting up logs, so I thought I'd get myself one. This is the Pro version, which comes with the trestle. These are the feet that are going to go in that, and these screw on the end of those feet. A couple of bits of wood, they're going to go along the top. I've also bought a further piece of wood myself, and you'll see where that fits in later. It's so I can use this bolted onto my trailer as well as on the trestle. There's a couple of bags with all the various screws and attachments that are going to be needed to put it together, and I've actually got 5 of these cups, and the way these work is that the logs are in them, and after you've cut them you can just tip and the logs will fall out into your trailer or wheelbarrow or whatever. They do a version with 4 and a version with 6. I asked them to do me one with 5. One of them has this bit of bungee cords to lock the logs in, and that'll make more sense once it's all together. So let's start putting it together then. Okay, so that's the basic trestle together. You can see that it's height adjustable. You can remove this pin and pick several different heights using those holes there. The leg has bolted onto the foot there, and these recycled plastic feet actually have a nut recessed inside the foot there to hold them on. So on top I've put my other piece of wood, which I've already marked out to show where I want to screw on the cups to hold the logs. Obviously the spacing of them depends on the size of the stove that you have, and therefore the size of the logs you want to cut. Right, so here it is all together. I've got the 5 cups screwed onto the piece of wood that I bought myself, and that's sat on top of the trestle. So as you can see, the cups all line up and will quite easily tip. There's a warning to say don't cut from this side, because obviously this is the way the logs are going to tip, and so if you cut from this side you're likely to end up with them falling towards you. I've put these ratchet straps trapped under the cup, one at one end and one at the other end. They could be used here to fasten the cups and their piece of wood down onto the trestle, but I'll also use them to fasten onto the trailer as well. Before I came up to the woods, I added another little feature to the beam that has the cups mounted on it. At the end I've just screwed on a couple of little blocks of wood which serve to accurately position the beam when I'm attaching it onto the trailer. You'll see how that works in a moment. Park the trailer next to some logs that need cutting up, and I'll cut a few straight into the trailer to show how this works. So first I'm going to fasten this onto the trailer using those little blocks of wood I mentioned earlier. Okay, that's a nice snug fit there. Then I need to use the ratchet straps to fasten it down, just to be sure it doesn't go anywhere. Probably going to cut these short once I've decided how well this is going to work. Okay, ready to load some logs in from the pile. Now before you start loading, it's important to put the bungee cord over the back of the cup it's attached to, because it's going to wrap over the logs after we've put them in. Got some thinner ones, so I'm going to put them at the bottom so that they're kind of held down a bit by the weight of the heavier logs. Okay, I think that'll do. So then the bungee pulled tight over the logs and locks on the other side. I'll just give you a close-up of how that bungee works. Pull it tight and you just press it into that, and there it is, locked and ready to cut. And just before I start cutting, I'm going to pop the wheelbarrow here so the bits that are cut off the end can just drop straight into the barrow rather than onto the floor. You always leave the cuts by this one till last, because this is the bit that's fastened in. So I'm going to start at the end with the wheelbarrow and then at the other end. So that was very quick. I can now release the bungee cord, and these simply I've just got the few in the wheelbarrow to add as well. Job done. Now we'll have a look at it on a trestle instead of on the side of the trailer. So to use it with the trestle, all I need to do is pop this down on top. Like I did with the trailer, use the ratchet straps to hold it down securely. Position the blocks of wood on the end so they don't interfere with attaching it to the trestle in this way. When I'm using the trestle, I'm going to use the wheelbarrow to catch the logs, so I'll position that ready to catch the first load that are going to come off the end. Okay, ready to saw it. Okay, so now the sawing's done, all I need to do is position the wheelbarrow and tip each one as I go along. There we go, one wheelbarrow of logs produced very, very quickly. As expected, the logs have come out all pretty much the same length, which is ideal. Looking over at the actual piece of wood itself, you see there is one point where I nicked it with the saw there, but of course that's the beauty of this thing, that if you do cut into it, it's just a bit of wood, and that can easily be replaced. So overall, I would say this is an excellent product and good investment for anyone who is producing logs as part of their work.